The number 3 top story is we are self-domesticated apes. We are our own greatest invention. This is from KK.org. Is this from you? Wait,
no, it's someone who shares my initials, though.
Kim Kardashian? Is this her?
It might be.
Is this Kim's?
No.
I think it's Kim.
I just share initials with many great people.
Right.
Kim Kardashian included. This is Kevin Kelly.
Oh, Kevin Kelly. I know who Kevin Kelly is.
Yeah.
It's that beautiful book.
He writes a lot, and I think probably most famous for being the editor of Wired magazine, but also writes really eye-widening, I think, books that are like science, technology, media focused. This post in particular he shared recently, and it describes the genetic changes that happen to species as we domesticate them. And that when we domesticate anything, say, foxes are an example here, anything that we domesticate begins to have the same characteristics. It begins to look more like the young version of that domesticated animal. It becomes more gentle. Its eyes get bigger. Its jaw gets weaker.
It's the human touch.
It becomes more compassionate, more social, and that there are genetic markers for these things. Like you can see these things, and I think they're called neologism. I'm not exactly sure what the language is, but the set of genes has a name, and you can actually see this set of genes in humans. And he comes to this awesome conclusion that humans domesticated themselves. That what we do to animals, we also have done to ourselves. And he says you can look at like Neanderthal genes, and the presence of these genes are not in Neanderthals, but then and others of our ancestors. But then over time we evolve these domesticated genes. And then the kind of tagline is, we domesticated ourselves, or we were selecting among each other when we went to mate for these qualities in each other, and sort of like how we select among populations of animals to domesticate them. We did it to ourselves, and I thought that just was like pretty awesome.
Cool. We got a top comment from South Korea. He says, interesting read. Invention suggests some kind of intentional or deliberate process. I prefer to think that language incorporation emerged from evolutionary pressure.
I don't know.
Fairness, reciprocity seems to exist in many other beings too, of course. Depends on where you put us, humans versus primates. Reciprocity, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You got anything, Blood Poet?
I did. What was it? I was gonna. That kind of makes me think that like domestic isn't quite the best word for what's going on.
Well, I don't know what word would you use? Which word is better?
I don't know. You'd probably have to have a new word, but it makes me like, yeah, it's like, what is it then? I don't know. I'm considering it now in a way that I haven't.
Well, I think he's defining domestication as the removal of some genes and the introduction of these other genes that are related to domestication. Mm-hmm. And so if that's the definition of domestication, and that appears to have happened in human evolution too, then that would be a valid use of the word domestication. But
no, I think it's valid to use it. Yeah.
I just don't know what other word to use, I guess, other than that. I think maybe you're trying to make a point.
It's like the process of like becoming better, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, but better in the ways that all the species that we domesticate become better.
Right. Not just us.
Yeah, better as defined by to South Korea LN's point, better as defined by fitness, survival.
Yep. It is interesting.
Yeah, I think Topher.
About.
Because I read the Stacker.News post, but I didn't read the linked article. So is he claiming that we domesticated ourselves or that we just went through a similar process?
We went through a similar process, and he's describing it in the attention-grabbing fashion that we domesticated ourselves. He's not saying that we fenced in a bunch of humans and selectively bred them. He's saying that among ourselves, we kind of like chose to to breed with people who are cooperative, breed with people who look like the younger people in our species, the people who were kinder, the people who were cooperative, the people who were social. Like we were selecting that among each other, and that's why we have arrived at a place where that is like kind of our state is not the aggressive Neanderthal state.
But I guess there's two separate ideas here. There's the one that if you look at humans throughout evolution, that our evolution displays similar characteristics of domestication that we see in other animals. So that's one idea. And then the other idea is that we domesticated ourselves, whether that was like naturally or we went through this process.
I think it's natural. He would say
that it's natural.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about that one.
The bigger question. You ready for it? The bigger question. This is the question I have for you guys, because you're technologists. Are we getting domesticated now by computers and by technology? Is that domesticating us? And what are the ramifications of that?
I would say it's de-domesticating us, if anything. I would say it's because we are we're not going through the selection process.
Overlords are domesticating us.
No, I would say, well, maybe for them, that like what is domestication to a computer or an AI? It might be different than what is domestication to a human being, and so I would say we're de-domesticating because we're not going through this process of selecting among each other anymore.
Like a block, like a computer too. That makes sense.
You remember?
Did they select that?
No, I was giving you an example, like the Kevin Kelly example.
Oh, with the skulls.
That's a joke.
Yeah.
Oh. Are you saying your skull? You have a Neanderthal skull?
I'm saying we're turning into blockheads.
I think I have like 3% Neanderthal DNA.
Nice.
Just for people to know. I don't know, for no reason.
Okay, but don't you think that computers have made a cultural cooperation
Downstream.
event?
We had a
I
good
think
story about that the other week.
I think they have, but I think the traits you would select for through a computer are different than the traits you would select for in a natural human group. So that's mostly what I'm trying to say is that I think.
So maybe it's the algorithms that are domesticating us.
Okay, Alan Watts' Mind Over Mind was recommended by Jim. I don't know if he's putting in, pull that up, Jamie. He's going to try to find it.
Well, because the point of his talk, I mean, it's like he drones on for like an hour. He's very articulate.
Yeah.
But the premise of it is essentially you can't, who's going to watch the Watchmen when you're deciding what to select for? It's like, there's no way to really do that.
Yeah.
Same thing with like AI alignment. It's like who watches the AI, who aligns the AI aligners, you know?
Yeah.
Remember that conversation that we had about ironic distance?
Oh yeah, this is it, right? Yeah, Watts. Read that out right there, Topher. Watts encourages readers to shift. Can you read that?
Where is it? The book delves into the concept of metaprogramming. That part or that part there?
That part there.
Watts encourages readers to shift their perspective and embrace a more holistic and interconnected view of existence, transcending the limitations of dualistic thinking. Sounds pretty hippie if you ask me.
Yeah, sounds pretty new agey. But I think Jim is talking about a specific part of it, but so book delves in the concept of metaprogramming, which is like who is programming the programmers.
I asked Jamie to break it down like I'm 10.
Like you're 10? Yeah. You didn't go all the way down to 5?
I got a 10-year-old brain.
So do you think there has to be an intent behind that kind of programming and the domestication that could come from it? Or do you think it could just happen spontaneously or naturally?
I think, South Korea LN was like, I think we're selecting for what is the most survivable traits in people. Like what we...
Yeah,
we're
dualistic thinking makes sense here.
But there's still an intent to survive that humans have.
But we're
Which
like
is what you're saying.
in the process, like while we're hunter gatherers, we're among each other. We see in certain individuals doing better, say hunting or gathering or whatever endeavor, who are more cooperative, who are more social, who are more empathetic, and we have sex with them. That's basically the way I imagine it happens. Like without there being a programmer programming us to do it, we are ourselves like that's like free will stuff. Like by our own free will, we are like programming ourselves to want these things, I guess.
Whether we realize it or not.
Yeah, whether it's conscious or not.
Yeah. So I believe like computers can and probably are domesticating us in some way. And actually, the evidence to that would be physiological changes. And I know that for a fact that there's many physiological changes that people have gone through.
Glasses are a great example.
Not just glasses, the pencil neck.
Oh, yes.
All of the posture problems from people sitting down, carpal tunnel,
Yes.
square eyes. Yeah.
But those aren't, some of those are, you could argue those aren't genetic. Those changes aren't genetic. Those are just the product of
But
the
in the
environment.
next generation, they'll be genetic.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't think that's the way genes work.
You should meet my nephew. He's like completely
Like if I have
like
ball,
off the rails. You just see like running
if I
around
have cancer,
carrying his iPad.
it doesn't.
like
And
it's like
say
he's
that
like on something.
the cancer is not genetically caused. It's because I like hung out at a.
But I think posture is not that though. Like that's the bones.
I don't think it's heritable like that. I don't. I think these are just physiological changes that happen as a result of the environment, and then.
No, I think
that would be an epigenetic argument.
I think Generation B.
that the way we're living affects our offspring.
I think Generation B will have computers in them. If that makes any sense.
Computers in them.
Yeah.
Human computer interface stuff.
Yeah.
I definitely
Yeah.
think so.
Starting that